live. Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Jason Tucker. What's that?
What's in Russ's background? His meetup? Are they watching?
No, that's WordCamp San Diego 2017, a packed house.
You can't mess with my intro, folks. All right. I love it. Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Jason Tucker. This is WPwatercooler's WPblab, episode number 152, Funding Open Source with Employment. How plugins are really built. I want to let you know that this episode of WP Watercooler is brought to you by ServerPress, makers of desktop server. They make local WordPress development easy. Go check them out over at serverpress.com. And also Kinsta. You can go check them out over at demo.kinsta.com. We'll be talking about them a little bit later. And Fat Dog Creatives. Go check them out over at fatdogcreatives.com. Look at me, Bridget. I'm using all the things. I'm doing all the stuff. Let's see if we can actually do the rest of the show here. You can subscribe to us over at WPblab by heading over to our website over at WPwatercooler.com/subscribe. And that's where you can learn how to subscribe to this show as well as WP Watercooler, which will be happening today at 11 o'clock Pacific. Russ is also going to be on the show with us, and we're going to be talking about it was Gutenberg blocks, right? Which we just call blocks now, right? I haven't actually used them yet, so it'll be fun to talk about them. So we'll be doing that. Before we introduce Russ, Bridget, we're going to introduce ourselves. Tell me about yourself, Bridget.
God, I hate Gutenberg for more reasons. Like this week, literally ran a WordPress update on a client site with a clean install. And there was 4 plugins on the site, and it just kept showing the title. Title. I love WordPress. My name is Bridget Willard, and I do marketing and copywriting for WordPress products and agencies. I try really hard to love progress in tech. You can find out more at bridgetwillard.com. But also, if it's not ready, don't ship it. Russ, how about you tell us about yourself? Oh, no, it's Jason's turn.
I'm Jason Tucker. You can find me over at Jason Tucker on Twitter. I do this show as well as the affirmation show that I just said, which is WP Watercooler. We've been doing that for 7+ years now.
Wow.
And it's been a lot of fun, and I'm really enjoying it. And if you want to get involved in the show, I know a lot of folks are home and they got stuff going on and whatever, and they want to be involved in it. They can definitely go do that. You can go over to WPwatercooler.com/join us. And that's where you can learn how to join us on this show as well as WP Watercooler. Russ, it's now your turn to introduce yourself. Tell us about yourself.
Are we sure?
Like,
yeah, okay. You guys can keep doing this. I'll be back. Like, I want a number 1 with the Coke. I'll be back. It's cool.
I woke up too early.
So my name's Russell Aaron. I am a developer. I would say that I am more of a poor man's entrepreneur, if you will. Like, I've worked for some places that I'm not proud of, but I was able to hone my skills, and I've worked for some really cool places that I've bonded a lot of friendships with. So, when you look back at like all the things that I've done, I would say that I have a passion and I have a commitment to the things that I have chosen that I want to do. And when I see those, I want to go for those.
Awesome, man. Well, it's good to have you on.
That's a little different than like I teach WordPress, I speak WordPress.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's.
I usually say the same boring thing every time.
I get bored of my intro, as you can see. I try to change it, just like my hair.
I just want to hit play and just have it just come out of my mouth so I can get to what we need to get to. So, yeah.
Well, you got to keep them listening.
Right.
So the whole thing is, if you're not watching live and you're not listening to the podcast and subscribing on YouTube, then you're missing out on all the good inside joke stuff that's not in the show notes.
I usually turn off podcasts when they start telling me to subscribe in the first 3 minutes. That's all.
So this is kind of a passion series that I said, Jason, we need to talk about this because I feel like there is this sense in open source that everything should be free. And, when I came into it, I remember talking to you and Roy Savon on this show. in the early episodes. Go check it out, people.
I think I was on episode 11 or 12. I think that was my first episode of this, and I think that episode is when you were like WPblab. Like, that was
you. We have a theme song that I wrote and produced and played, and it's ridiculous, but it was fun. Anyway, but I remember I was talking about, why are you guys giving away your intellectual property for free?
Yeah.
And they're like, well, it's open source. And that should, as if that's the only reason. And it took me a while when I started with the show in October of 2015 to kind of get on the open source train.
Yeah.
But at the same time, open source is built by humans. Humans have to buy Diet Coke, upgrade their internet, pay for rent, eat, things like that. So there's no magic funding. It doesn't happen by you fall asleep and it's like Santa Claus in the North Pole. Then all of a sudden you wake up on Christmas morning and there's 40,000 plugins in the WordPress repo. That's not how it works.
There's 54,000 plugins now.
Well, they still weren't built by Keebler elves, Santa's elves, or the magic fairies. There's humans doing this stuff.
They build plugins too, Bridget.
Okay, it's not. That was not meant to be a derogatory term. I mean,
there's no button that you just click and it says poof plugin. It just doesn't happen. I understand.
It's not magic. Okay. Yeah. So,
and you had that thought, you were standing at your barbecue on a Saturday, minding your own business, and you were like, hey, what's a rad plugin is if I just had this thing that styled my gravity form for me, and all I have to do is put a class name and poof, it's done. And this is my story, by the way. I was out back. I was grilling.
Let me get the premise.
No. Hang on. What I'm saying here is you had this thought. And now you're just going to be here, right? I did all of this and I was just and throw it away, right? That's what you're trying to say.
Yeah, it doesn't. So the thing is that we get this impression because there are so many volunteers in WordPress and Drupal and Joomla and blah, blah, blah. But what really funds open source is agency work, different business models, paid support, like Ron Herrera from BB Vapor Modules just decided to give his modules for free, but charge for support.
Yeah.
Because guess what? Ron has to eat too. Give me a break, everybody. And so when I say,
but he doesn't need to hoard all the TP either,
So when I said that, let's talk about this, you were like, yeah, because every plugin I've built, I've done while I was an employee.
There are so many of us out there that seriously have put some coin behind what they have done. It didn't just cost me a Saturday and a couple hours to do this thing. You have to have a website and hosting. EDD is free, but not the extension to sell licenses. There's a cost. This is a business. And whether or not you have an LLC, if you are trying to do something in this space to gain notoriety or some kind of look at me, I write plugins, you're trying to pimp yourself out there, and that costs money. You have to have the internet to be on this show, and that costs money. That I feel like that should be the title. It costs money.
Are you trying to say that marketing costs money, Russ?
Oh, so take the time away from marketing. It just the money alone, billboards or the side of a freeway inside T-Mobile Arena, whatever it costs, that's a lot of money. And mind you, that's per game. I couldn't even pay to advertise my brand for one game for an opening season of the Vegas Golden Knights. I couldn't afford to do that. That's $60,000.
Yeah, I couldn't even afford to get a seat in it.
Could you imagine if it just said WordPress support? It just said that, and it had my URL, and it was in the backboard of an NHL game.
It would be interesting to see if somebody would actually go to that site or whatever by having it on one of those, one of those games. Would they actually even would something even happen with that? But yeah.
Sure.
Well, Amazon Web Servers was sponsoring football, and I was
Entire airports too.
Yeah, and I was at the pub one day, and I'm like, Amazon Web Servers. Which of these sports geeks knows anything about AWS? And then I tweeted it out when I found out that some of our nerds also like
sports people know things, Bridget. They probably just got off their job, over like at like Enron, and like they just want to have a beer. And she's over here going like, "Who let you in?"
So really, what we should have done is say,
Bridget,
okay,
I love you. That's amazing.
It's time for Brady to retire next year. Stop about the Buccaneers and really just let Russ train you on how to build a WordPress plugin, and you could go out on a win. I just lost Jason.
Whoa, you didn't lose me. You didn't lose me at all.
Tom Brady, I don't know if you can old. Train. He's too old for football. Of course you can, because you and I had this conversation at WordCamp San Diego.
Ooh, okay.
And I said, how do you learn to write a plugin? And you said, how do you learn to play the guitar? Do you go to YouTube and watch some Yahoo playing guitar?
Okay, I know what you mean by train now. Okay.
You watch Eric Clapton play guitar.
I was thinking Rocky, like you're running up the steps kind of thing. Like there's no really that of like plugins, but yeah, for sure, like.
Well, he would have to learn the Pomodoro method, how to use Git, how to use what is WordPress use? SVN or something?
Yep.
I feel like you should know this answer, Bridget. Like Google's right in front of you.
Listen,
that's also a conversation we had at WordCamp San Diego was, why do I tell people to Google stuff? And I'm like, not only are you going to get an answer from me, but you're going to get an answer from everybody out on the internet as well.
I know, but some of those answers are wrong. Anyway, we're derailing. so can you
I feel like we're on top.
I know that you did Gravity Styles is like your claim to fame, your original claim to fame. Not that you haven't done other things, but because forms are notoriously fugly. I don't know why they are so bad.
I'm going to write an audiobook and you're going to read it for me. But when people download it, like you're going to do it for me. But go ahead.
They are so ugly. Even my EDD for my ebook, I'm like, why does it say in a word, add to cart? Right. Why isn't it a button? And I put it on the internet. Scott Deluzio sent me CodePen and said, just copy the CSS and put it in your customizer additional CSS. And magically it worked. Right?
Yeah.
So but forms are such a pain, right? Yeah. So you found this pain point. What made you decide to make it a free or make a plugin?
Ben Fox. So my WordCamp in 2015 here in Vegas, planning a WordCamp is hard as is. But so I was writing this plugin and John Hawkins said, I'm not wanting to do WordCamp this year. Like he can't be the main organizer. So I stepped in and there was a few months to that short run and I was mid building my plugin. So I put that on hold to plan WordCamp. And so I was talking to Ben Fox and Pippin is on my computer typing, Pippin Williamson from EDD, the man himself, the man, the myth, the legend, Sandhills Development. I love your beer, by the way. He was adding the licensing plugin or software to this plugin. Like literally Gravity Styles was like in front of Pippin and he was helping me. And Ben goes, what is this? And I go, I hate styling Gravity forms and I have seen the Dradcast and I have seen WPwatercooler and I have seen all these other meetups who have styled Gravity forms. Suzette Frank, an amazing friend. She's been on WPwatercooler for many, many episodes. All of her forms are pink. So, she uses Gravity forms. So I reached out to her and I was like, do you mind if I take the CSS from your thing and make this a form? She goes, no, go ahead. Like, it's just CSS. I don't own the property. It's just styling in colors, So I just started doing that. I just started putting these things together. And Ben Fox goes, if you don't make this a plugin, I sure will. like, so like in front of me, I just, hey Pippin, can you also add this too? And like, like he didn't code this whole thing for me, but I didn't know where to start. So he sat down, he took the time
you
and goes,
mean you didn't Google it?
so not at WordCamp when you're running the whole WordCamp. I was like, hey Pippin, do you mind if you just like, and he was like, no problem.
Have a mentor. I'm going to write that down as your first tip.
Not even a mentor. It's just somebody who wrote the software. It's like having Gary V run your business, not just telling you how to do it, but he's like, hey, Bridget, you go sleep, you go take care of the kids. I got your business. Like you come back and like, yeah, like, and not only that, and Pippin wasn't like, hey, it's going to cost you what he's like, yeah, it's Saturday at WordCamp. Here, check this out. And he did it, but so we made this thing a plugin, and that was really that kicks, the irony here is that Ben Fox was my choice to be the keynote. So I literally brought somebody to tell me to get my ass in gear. Is how I look at it.
Awesome.
But yeah, so there's that. But Bridget, many of people know, but you don't know because you haven't been here that long. In the WordPress space.
Only 5 years.
So I was in a mortgage company and I had a mortgage plugin that I was actually selling. So there aren't WordPress sites that display mortgage rates. Like it's really kind of hard to do. And so the third-party software that I was using at the company, I got with their developer and he goes, here, this is what I would do. And he actually gave me an API to pull from. So as their rates update, our rates update on our website. So I took that and I was like, you know what? I don't want to actually like try to sell this thing online, but I know 8 other mortgage shops here in town that have WordPress sites that I can roll up and be like, hey, if you give me $600, you can have this thing, like kind of drug deal-ish, like, hey, on the, install this, you're cool. Yeah, you know what I mean? So I did that. And then once I found a couple more people, like they had friends or they had businesses that they worked with in other places. And I kind of sold this thing just in the mortgage world. I didn't really have to put it online. I didn't have to do this thing. All you did was install the plugin and you put the URL to where your loans come from, and the plugin did the rest.
Did you like give them a flash drive? Was it like literally like that kind of a drug deal? They exchanged cash for a flash drive, or did you?
So I actually had it in a zip folder on my WordPress site. So you'd go to russellaarondesigns.com/WP content uploads 3, and then it'd be like, name a business download. But like the plugin, you can name the plugin whatever, so like they didn't the plugin folder could be called ZZZ and they would never know the difference as long as it worked, so like it,
so you didn't use EDD to sell it. You
no,
just gave them the link.
There was no updates. There were no support. I was just like, hey, I'm this guy. I sell software. You have a WordPress site. Would you like to show your rates? Like, would that, help people? Because yeah, that'd be great. I don't have to send them. And it was a thing, and so I started doing that. But, that's how I funded everything, Bridget, was I used to sit at home like this and I didn't have a job, but I could build WordPress sites. I came from MySpace, where you just put everything together in tables and it went to the About section and it pimped out your MySpace. So you bring a little bit of that over to WordPress and, you can start learning this stuff quickly. But I was going to businesses. I would find a mom and pop pizza shop down the street. I would install on MAMP or ZAMP, and then local by Flywheel, and then ServerPress. Like I'm still on ServerPress to this day because Mark Benziki's my boy. So you install it locally, and I would build them a new WordPress site. I would build the site, and I would go up to the pizza place, and I'd be like, hey, you could have a new looking website today. Not 6 months from now. Don't sign a contract with me and we're going to send emails and words are going to get misconstrued and you might fire me. I have it today. $500. I will install it. I will sit here and we'll get you set up on GoDaddy if you need to. We'll get you set up on a good host. I don't care. $600 in one day is more than I've ever made at that point in my life. Like I've never made $600 a day. I could do this. I could just sit down and physically do this. And that was my business. I didn't have a website. I didn't have a thing. It was a handshake and like a phone number. and like you make yourself available. And that's how determined I am to have money in my wallet. Is, are you going to deny somebody and say, hey man, like I didn't do this work for you, and sorry I stopped just emailing you, whatever, but you know what I mean? Like, no, you don't want to be that person. You want to be like, hey, call me. You bought this thing for me. You're going to have questions in a month. Of course I'm going to help you. It's not like, haha, I got your money and now I'm gone. You build relationships, and then they recommend somebody to you, and you can do all of this without being with SEO, without having all this marketing. You can do all of this. And I feel like that's the world I come from.
But it's old school relationship building.
It's not even market. I'm not marketing. It's not like I'm putting up flyers or anything. I'm just literally going marketing. Up to a business.
You walking into their business saying, I have this.
Okay. I feel like that's sales, but sales and marketing can be the same thing. All right.
Two sides of the same coin. Because your sales Bridget, was what you did. The marketing was, I have this right here. Do you want it?
Yeah.
Which is the first rule of sales. Put the product in their hand. And I find that curious. I'm sorry, but I'm like shocked. Are you shocked, Jason? Because he's doing things the way the old school, which is good.
Let me tell you something.
Old school
this
way
business,
for a millennial, you're doing things the old school way, which is fascinating.
This business was built by people. No, this industry was built by people like us, Bridget. They give you the WordPress theme, they give you the import, and then they set up the website for you. They import the images, they add the text. You have to just go change the title and the content and hit publish. And you're telling me that like you just can't download whatever it is off of Theme Forest, install Jupiter, whatever, and then go in there and make it say like dummy text here, make it say BridgetWiller.com, expert marketing, gonna yell at Russ today. Like, that's all you have to do. And then you hit publish, it's on your local box, and you just take it. And all you're doing is you're doing the same thing Theme Forest is. You're putting it out there and allowing anybody to buy. But instead of just saying, I hope somebody comes to my website, I just went and knocked on the door. And like, I come from that era, I feel like. And I feel like you come from that era where it's like, get up and go do something.
Okay, so did you skip the repo altogether?
Yeah.
I didn't even have I didn't even have a GitHub. I didn't have any of that. Like, seriously, like I installed WordPress and I was like, here, you have these plugins and they update, here's Jetpack and here's CPT UI and here's this thing and here's how it works. So like the client was always on WordPress and like they were never going to be, it's not like I was installing a Frankenstein theme and they can never update it, like things
it was
were
still GPL.
Yeah, it was still that way. But, like what I'm saying is like I heard people at WordCamps who they came to WordCamp because they hired a developer and they stopped talking to them. They literally
stopped talking to the client.
The communication between who hired and who was being hired stopped.
Yep.
That used to be the biggest thing in the WordPress community was, oh, what are you going to do? Like, you're going to take my money and run? Like, that was the thing. And like, I wish I would have been on Twitter then because that conversation was wild. So
you'd hear that all the time at WordCamps because you would go, you'd be sitting there and the person says to me, you're like, hey, I just started, using WordPress and I hired somebody who started building the site for me and then they ghosted me and I don't know who to talk to or what to do. So I started looking around and then inside the dashboard, it says that there's this thing called a WordCamp and I'm showing up at it. And so now I paid for my thing and I showed up here. And did you know WordCamps are so cheap? Like the whole thing, they're just having the out of body experience of WordPress. And then they go, Jason, can I hire you to fix my thing?
Or like Roy would come over and hey, Russ, this is my buddy Jay. He lives in Vegas. He hired this guy. And, like, can I hook him up with you? That's how, like, when I first met John Hawkins, he goes, give me your email address. And he goes, I'm going to put you on, if I can't take work, he goes, I send an email back to people. And like, that's just how you kind of did it. But like, what I'm getting at here is that what is the core of that question is that you had to wait for something to be built. And then 6 months goes by and you're going to be super pissed off because you stopped talking and you spent X amount of money. So how do you bridge that gap? You build it before you even talk to them. Right? You walk in there and I'm like, listen, this is already better. First of all, you're going to be like, this is when responsive themes started becoming a thing. And we started using like the 920 grid or like or skeleton. I really like skeleton a lot. But so like, you're going to be one of the first sites on the internet to be responsive, and look at this. And, I could make it load on my phone because I knew how to set up a staging site and visit the staging site, I knew how to put this together, and I built this show. I walked into this business and I was just like, have you ever seen Waiting, where like the lady's walking up the stairs and she's like, and then she walks out and she's like, how's your food today? How's it going? Like, like that used to be me. I'd show up and I'd be like, I really hope I make this money. It'd be great. I'd like to, eat tomorrow, but walk in and, hi, how are you doing? Like, check this out. I have this site. I'm Russell, by the way. I build work, like you just have to be that charismatic thing. And if you can't do that one weekend a month, then, like, what are you actually doing and saying that you're running a business or that you're doing something, like that, what you're doing doesn't pay the bills if you're not paying bills by what you're doing.
So this is actually a really good,
This is a perfect time to pay a bill real quick. So let me tell you guys a little bit about something. I'm going to tell you something about Kinsta. If you're tired of unreliable or slow hosting, check out Kinsta.com, who makes managed WordPress hosting to the next level, powered by Google Cloud. All their plans include PHP 7.4, SSH access for developers, one-click staging area, 20 global data centers, free SSL, free CDN, and 24/7 expert support, who will also migrate your site free of charge. Visit Kinsta and take a tour of their awesome new dashboard. If you haven't seen it yet, it's really great. Go check it out over at demo.kinsta.com. Kinsta, thank you very much for supporting us. We really appreciate it.
I really love Kinsta. I love their hosting. What I feel like, going back to the original, ways of WordPress, like when I came to it, another thing you would hear is like all those technical words that you just said, like hosting and SSH and all those. Like to a WordPress newbie, that was like a drug commercial. Like, how they're naming the side effects. You were just like SSH access, this pro tip, and XLPCI, and like
constipation, diarrhea. So Jason, I remember you saying,
I love Kinsta. Please go use Kinsta, or like that was just a thought I had in my head as you were reading it. It just sounded like a bunch of side effects.
Awesome.
So Jason, you were telling me once that on one of these shows that you did that with a pizza place. You like went into your
yeah.
Now right now, with all of these restaurants pivoting, like the one down the street, literally a block and a half away from me, has a market.
Yeah,
because they're still getting all their groceries.
They are looking for this today, and you could just go find out a way to
listen. Oh man, don't interrupt
old man, get off my lawn.
But no, right now, listen, let me ask the question, Russ. So right now, I see tons of restaurants posting.
Can you just email me the rest of this question? That'd be great. Go ahead.
Posting PDFs of their menus.
Yeah.
On Instagram, but nobody can read. And then their websites are a giant image of this menu, but nobody can read.
Yeah.
That nobody can read. So like right now, it'd be a really good time. I know that you have to be 6 feet away to do ServerPress and go, here, I built this for you.
Right.
Well,
yeah. No, definitely.
But not even that, because you can send them a link to your local and you could just say, hey, click this thing, whatever. Or, I still feel like if you're going to go that route and you're going to, want to impress a small business that just opened up yesterday, you should go know them personally instead of just emailing them. Because you know how many emails they already get, like,
well, that's what Bridget was talking about. Because I'd be in one of these restaurants and I'm eating and I'm like, man, do these guys have a website? And I look them up and they have a Yelp. They have some old expired, Squarespace.com site where it's like, joespizza.squarespace.com. And you're like, dude, come on. And nothing's updated and everything's old. It's the previous owner. Like it's like everything's bad about it. And you're like, I could outrank their own Squarespace site just by installing WordPress. Like, not even like do anything.
That comes to my
special.
head all the time. Like challenge accepted.
Right.
Can we do a Squarespace knockoff where we're lying down on the snow? Can we get somebody from the Midwest lying down on the snow with a cop coming by and say, "What are you doing?" "Oh, I'm fixing this Squarespace website with WordPress."
Oh my God.
Hey, Winona.wordpress.com. Somebody please do that. I really think it would be hilarious. But okay, can you tell us, let's get back to our NPR.
We got 15 minutes to talk about this part of it.
No, I know. So here's the thing. Like, we're talking about how you funded your premium plugins that are licensed GPL. Are you red or black? Like, what's the? You don't have to tell us how many millions of dollars you made or anything, but like, what was the percentage of, how, your value and money versus what you made from it?
I'm totally green. So like I'm up in everything that I've done because I have made connections in this community with companies and friends, and I have been offered chances to use their services, and I've been able to write about them, or I'm able to speak about them, so when I was setting up Gravity Styles, I actually had a license thing from Pantheon, and it said, try this thing. So that site was ran on Pantheon. I didn't pay for the hosting. They gave me a year. So I took 3 months. They gave me hosting, and I did something with it. It didn't cost me anything. It didn't cost me anything to put the plugin together. It cost me to install this EDD license. That was it. That was, you got to have Stripe. You got to set that up. But what I'm saying is like, if you are trying to come into this space and you don't know anybody, from, I knew Shada from WP Engine. I knew Dustin from WP Engine. So that was my hosting connection. And I knew, I learned who Juiced was, and I learned how to meet him, and I went to San Diego, and that's how I got Yoast. And I went and did this. And if you don't want to put the time and effort into do that what I was just saying, like, that's huge, because WP Engine, $39 a month, Yoast $77 a year, like that starts adding. I have a lot of that covered because I have some of those connections, but I genuinely have a connection with those people. It's not, I was just like, hey, give me a free, whatever. Like, I got that because I went to WordCamp 2011. I signed up for WP Engine, and I got the free hosting account with them, and then I started getting emails from things. And when I start building things, I have the money to do this. If I spend $300 and it doesn't go anywhere, like Russ, I'm fine. I'm great. Like, before I even got into WordPress, Bridget, I had a whole different affiliate marketing company. And like, a lot of my younger success came from doing that, like guerrilla marketing, getting on Craigslist and just trying to get people to sign up for like some body enhancing drug or whatever. Like, like when you come from that, I didn't have a lot going into that. And I was really just trying to take money any way I could, almost like cold calling the dictionary. Right. So anything that I have going forward, like if I lose $300, I feel like it's okay. I wouldn't even put $300 towards this if my house payment couldn't be made for the next 5 months, if my kids weren't okay. Like, that part of my life allows me to do this part of my life, which is mess around in that.
The employment gives you the financial security to have a side hustle.
Yeah, and your passion. Like, if you don't have the passion to do this, it doesn't matter if you're Bruce Wayne, like, you're just never going to put this together, But my job, I work for a company and I do WordPress all day, and they literally had that where they had PDFs for menus, and we converted them, and now it's text that you can copy on a page. And, we did that for all of our websites. So it's not like I'm going to a job where I'm, like working with steel or something, or coming off of an oil rig, and then I'm sitting down and doing WordPress. Like, I'm still doing WordPress every day. I'm still defining my skills. I'm still working on it. So how I look at it is like I have a personal backer. That's how I treated the mortgage company. Like when I started there, that guy, as long as I kept his website up, he really didn't care what I did for the rest of the day. So, he would send me an email. Hey, Russ, can you go update this? And I'd just go update his about page. And then I was back in my little nerd hole building whatever, like that's how I learned all this, Bridget, was, a lot of time, insomnia, staying up at night, just learning how to enqueue a style sheet, learning how to hook into Gravity Forms, learning how, now that I did that for 7-8 years, I feel like I have a really good opportunity to put things together that come in my head, and I can put them together quickly and try to build a business off of those.
So basically, stop talking and start doing.
I say stop talking, start sweating. That's what I say.
Okay. I'm going to write that down. That's how I do my show notes.
You write them down?
Yeah. There's a different process in your brain from a neural standpoint when you use your muscles to write.
But there's a different process. There's a different process for me where I have to try to read that writing, and I don't have that kind of OCR.
Would you have to upload your own note to Google Drive so it can read it to you?
Right? Like, what the heck is this, Jason?
I have never worked with an OCR that actually was good enough to where it would have been easier for me to type it in the first place, but I was the secretary, so.
But I have to try to read something like this that I chicken scratched on here that I'm like, I should have just typed that. It would have been so much easier. I should have just typed it. But that's me.
Whatever. I mean, maybe one day I'll be cash positive enough to drop some coin into one of those things that you write on, and it makes it.
Oh yeah, it turns it into.
So I had an affiliate marketing company, and I had 25 to 30 different people underneath me, and I had all these old Windows boxes that ran Windows XP on them, and like the little screen. And when that business folded, I started mining Bitcoin with those. I had this office. I had this office space. The guy didn't.
Bitcoin was a thing back then.
In 2011. Yeah.
Yep.
So.
And pizza was an entire Bitcoin, where now you can buy like an entire business with a Bitcoin.
And M&Ms were like this exclusive candy, and so I took all these boxes and I enslaved them. Basically, I had a same kind of setup. I knew this guy. He gave me free space to set up my little organization, if you want to call it. He didn't charge me rent. I didn't have to pay a power bill. I didn't have to do any of that. So it didn't cost me a lot to mine Bitcoin. And I did that for a few months. And, I have plural Bitcoins. So, like me personally, Russ, I'm covered. I have done some work in my life. I have skills. Before I did any of this, I used to climb radio towers. I used to work for the weather company, and I used to actually drive out to Butte, Montana, and climb a radio tower and plug in a laptop, an Apple laptop, into this thing to make sure that we're getting accurate readings. I've jumped out of airplanes over Lake Tahoe. I have a wild life, and my point to all of this is I can put a lot of things that I want to do together, and I can solve the problems that I want to do. And one of the things that I've wanted to do was work in this space, have the friends that I have, and be a part of a bigger community where you walk in and people go, oh, dude, look who's here. Because I do that. Like when I roll up to a WordCamp, especially like a San Diego, I'm like, dude, look who's here. Look at this. And giving a talk, Jason's in the crowd, Devin Walker's in the crowd. So now 2 of my favorite people in WordPress are in the room where I'm talking. And now I just feel like I'm at home. So, right. I want to put the money, I want to put the effort into helping my friends. And that's why, I never want to badmouth the company. I never want to say, don't go use this company, because I have friends that work there, dude. Not only that, are you expecting me to say anything like that? Because they give me free hosting for a year. They give me free domain names. I don't know if you know, but the guy that hooked me up at WDS, his name is Dre Armada. Guess where he's at? All I'm saying is I have friends in this thing, and I want to contribute, and I don't care if it doesn't make money. I feel like if you do something in the WordPress space, even if it tanks, you're still Russ who did gravity styles. You're still this guy that had this plugin that did whatever, you know, like I see people right now that have put a lot of money into Gutenberg blocks. And in my head, I have already celebritized them because like that is insane. It's insane that they were just like, I'm going to pay these people to build these things. It's not even here yet, but you know, I feel like it's early days of Bitcoin where they're like, I'm going to get on this Gutenberg thing. The block directory is going to be the new equalizer. It's going to be, you know, what they wanted to do with the plugin repo, but it's a fresh reset, new rules. And I feel like, you know, if this pays off for that guy, he's going to be rolling deep, you know? So I admire that kind of passion in the WordPress space. And like, I want to be here for that.
So for a person going into it now, you would say, like, make sure your finances are solid before you start volunteering and donating and building projects.
That's just a rule in life. Like, don't go buy a taco if you can't afford to, like, you know, like what's more important in your life, you know, eating or like, you know, learning the plot of Jersey Shore. Like, you know, where are your priorities at? So yeah, like don't get into WordPress, don't start a podcast, don't go buy all this stuff if like you can't afford to. Please keep a roof over your head. I want to see you tomorrow. Like you can come borrow my stuff. You know how many times I've actually asked people to show me how they've set things up, or half of my equipment in the room that I'm looking at has come from Andrew Weichel. Andrew Weichel is an amazing friend who I asked for a Mac laptop and he goes, you know, I just bought one and I work for, you know, WooCommerce and they just sent me a computer. So he's like, here, I'll sell you mine. So now I have that. And then I have like, you know, we traded my Give blanket for something that I traded him my Give blanket for something I wanted from him. It was the Timbuktu WP Engine computer case. Like half the things in my room, especially like the things that I wear, I have stickers on my desk right now, like WP Engine, Web Dev, Plugin Eyes, like other things over here. Like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like we embrace ourselves in it. So I'm saying like if you're gonna come into this space, start making friendships, start getting to know one another. WordCamps, I think, are going to be different moving forward. But for me, it was always getting out and going to the conferences. You know, I spent more money flying to conferences I feel like I had to go and build that relationship. And then I got Twitter followers. And then I could say, hey, go check out Gravity Styles on Twitter. Like, I wasn't able to build a following. So I had to, I'm a people person, though. I went to those WordCamps. I made myself known. I left a standing impact there. And I would say, that's my advice, is just stand out to people. Go meet, make friends, and this industry will be really kind to you. And you will not have to pay an arm and a leg to do the things that you want to do, but there will be a cost. And especially if you want to take over a business, like, 10 years ago, you probably could have bought a plugin development company for maybe like $8,000. There's no way that you're buying EDD or buying Yoast or any, and you're not just going to come into the market anymore in WordPress. Like, 5 years ago, you could open up a support shop and just call it ABC ABC WP support. And, now it could be a thing. You just couldn't start a support company today and be competitive. Like, there's no way that you're going to keep up with SiteCare and Maintain and all these companies. Like, not only that, Managed WP, that plugin is way better than anything that you're going to do for like the first 6 months when you actually start a WordPress support company. So you're going to need to go make friends and learn how the WordPress industry works. And then you can put a little money behind the product and go into it. But if you don't understand your market, if you don't understand the people, and if you don't understand like what they want, you're wasting your time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
totally
if you don't use WordPress yourself every day, then, if you're not solving your own itch, then, what is fueling you? Money? Because like, you're not going to make a lot of money unless you have a lot of downloads. Like, that's kind of what WordPress has taught me, is that, You can either charge an insane amount, $500 a year or whatever, and hope that your plugin is that good, or you're going to charge $25 a year and hope that you get 20,000 subscriptions. You know what I mean? Like you have to I feel like in WordPress, you have to pick that path. Where are you going? Are you going to be this way and you don't want to put a lot of effort, and you want to make small ad revenues coming in, little small funnels? I feel like that's almost easier when you start now. Passive income with WordPress sites, you can make a lot of money doing that if you have something to sell.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a balloon pilot, there's a lot of training, a lot of reading that you have to do before you even get to try to become certified and stuff. So if you're just sitting at home being a balloon pilot, minding your own business, start teaching people, put together a course. It costs, $1,200, give or take, to set up everything. And then you get 5 people to go take that test. It costs a lot of money to actually apply to become a balloon person. My point is you charge and you make that money. And then once you make your money back, it's just free at that point. Now you're
in the black.
I've recouped your $300. $0 have been spent, or now I just hope I make something. I just
That was wow. I just feel like we were talking to Gary Vaynerchuk, but it's tool or tip of the week time. This week's tool or tip of the week is brought to you by Fat Dog Creatives. If you're a service-based business serious about growth, Rhonda Nygaard is your rebranding and web design thinker, a strategic design specialist. Check out her website at fatdogcreatives.com. She does all my work. She should do yours too. So I was going to have a different tool or tip, but I had to restart my computer because I hated it. It was premature. So today I'm going to talk to you about this. Okay, I know I'm a late bloomer on a lot of things, but here's the thing. I got this. I was like, listen, I need a little box. My roommate hasn't been home very much, and she would just play music, and I was like, whatever, it's fine. Whatever she's listening to is fine. But I wanted to be listening to my jazz while I'm writing. And this little DOS speaker Bluetooth, it's got a little touch on it, and that's how you do the volume. If I turn it on, it will start making sound. But it has a line in. Like if I wanted it to actually play music out of this actual machine, or Bluetooth for my phone. And so when I was doing all my writing for a roofing website project, I had Miles Davis and John Coltrane and Thelonious Monk. The bass on this little tiny machine is so good. So just for scale, here's my ruler. And it's not too big. It's not unobtrusive. About 6.5 inches, and let's see, 3 by 3.
I wish traveling Bluetooth speaker salesman was a job, because I would totally have that job.
Right? Well, I mean, you could buy a bunch for $30 on Amazon and then say, I know you're working from home now, and you're probably sick of the sound quality that comes out of your machine, because I would just do Pandora. But I don't want that on my computer. I don't want that tab open. I don't want that browser open. Right now, I have one browser with 3 tabs. And that's what I like. More than 5, and I start having palpitations. So I would just put this over there on my kitchen table, and then let my little music play. And then when I took my bath, which you guys know on Twitter, and I 12-hour day, I left my phone in my room and then put this in the bathroom and listened to Radiohead. It was awesome. Just those 2 days was worth $30, and it comes in 5 colors, so it matches all my colors. You know me, I love all my different blues and greens. So go check out DOSspeakerbluetooth.com, or buy one for your friend who's working at home right now. Ship it to them. Keep your social distancing apart. You can do it on Amazon, because that's the only way they sell them. And that is my tool or tip of the week. Russ. Do you have a tool or tip to share with our audience?
A tool or a tip?
Yeah,
You
it could
know,
be anything.
Google has been a very big thing in my life, and it's true. And so what I want to say is I feel like you should get a Chromecast, because a Chromecast you could just put whatever you want right behind you on your TV, and it's just I love Chromecast because in my room while I work, while I do things, I can just stream whatever I want to this. So in my background I have this guy talking, kind of motivating me, whatever. And then I could switch. This is Conan. This is very motivational. My point is, though, it's like now I can search for WPblab, and I can actually bring up a thing and hit play. And now I'm watching, some kind of WordPress show. So I would say get yourself a Chromecast. And if you want to learn, oh, hey, it's Roundtable. I love it. So if you want to learn, you can get on WordPress.tv and you can listen to all these people tell you how to build child themes and stuff, and you can stream all of that to your Chromecast.
Okay, so I'm going to ask a question that might be a little dumb. It's streaming from what?
Whatever you want. So I have my phone. My phone does it, but your Chromecast joins your network, and then whatever device is on your network. Like if you came over to my house and I let you on my Wi-Fi, then if you opened up YouTube, you'd be able to share to my Chromecast, or you'd be able to share whatever. So
that's awesome.
Yeah,
so your phone could be doing that. You don't need your computer to be sending it.
I have a Google.
That's what I wanted. I wanted them separated. My phone
I have a Google Voice in my house, or I have a Google Assistant in my house. So I actually talk to that thing to tell it to turn it on to this thing, and so I don't even use my computer, period, or my phone.
So that's even better. So you can keep your processing power for what you're actually.
My entire house is automated like that. Yeah, because that was a problem that I wanted to solve, just like you. I wanted to have minimal tabs. I have 5 pinned. And then I have 2 open, that's the look that I like. But same thing is automation in your life, or a new way to do something is cool. And it's cool. I watch YouTube videos all day, and I watch people give WordCamp talks. I went to WordCamp Scranton 2017 a week ago because I watched all those videos while I was working. Why not?
Yeah, I watch the majority of my YouTube on TV. I don't even use the computer. I just watch it. We sit down and watch, Fashion Guru type YouTube, or we watch
Danny Duncan. I watch Danny Duncan all the time. Seriously, whenever I just need a laugh, or if I have a motocross fix, I'll just go to Monster Energy /Supercross on YouTube, and they have videos that are way better than anything that you're going to see on TV. And it was shot last week. It's not the same rerun. So I go on YouTube for almost everything.
We watch tons of YouTube on TV, Bridget.
I invented a YouTube game. It's called Hey Yo, Check It.
I remember you telling me about that one.
Wait, but
so you get 5 friends, or so we do it with 5 couples. And so what I do is I say you have 5 minutes to find the best YouTube video of someone getting kicked in the balls. So then everybody scrolls, and because I have a favorite video, and I think Jason's got a favorite video. He doesn't even have the URL saved anywhere. It's in his brain. Jason knows where he's going to find it. So I have friends that do the same thing. And so we sit around, and again, I'll hit play, I'll stream it to my Chromecast, and we'll all watch that video. And then we'll all go around and we'll watch each other's videos, and then we vote whoever had the best video. Winner gets to make everybody else, drink. The point is we all drink and we just watch YouTube videos, but you kind of gamified it by, if you win, you get to make someone drink, and whatever it is.
That's a good party game.
And it's super easy to do, Bridget, because if you're watching YouTube on your phone, you're essentially using YouTube on your phone as the starter point. So you go to you click the little thing in the corner, and you say send it to Chromecast. It sends it to Chromecast, and you're done.
I mean, I have an airport. That's how I do my Sarah Beth yoga. But
that game solves so many problems, because when you're in a social setting, everybody's sitting here like this anyways, right? So now we're kind of scrolling for the same thing, and we're all looking for the same thing, and then we're all going to watch and we're all going to laugh, and you still get to be social, but you still get to have your phone in your hand, and no one's going to be like, hey, put it down. Like, that game just solves so much. Not only that, you get to watch 5 different videos of people getting hit in the balls. So, like, that's a no-brainer. You're going to have a party.
Jason, what about you? You got my tool or tip?
Yeah, I do have one. So my tool or tip is, because of all the social distancing stuff and all the things that are going on, we've kind of accelerated the various technologies that are being used at my workplace. And one of them was that we wanted to have a way for people to be able to go onto our website and ask a question and then have someone answer it. And the thing is to get people to actually like watch something that's going to allow them to respond to somebody's inquiry on the website is hard, because not everyone is looking at this one place to look at, this one website that some admin page you have to be in or whatever. But my work, just like a lot of places, rolled out Slack. And so we started using Slack, and this is our first time as an organization using Slack. And because of using Slack, I was able to now start using a lot of third-party, tools that tie into Slack. So the tool that we were using to do this is a company, and there's 100 different ones that do this, but this is the one that we're choosing to use. It's called SmallChat. And so what SmallChat does is it makes it so that you can actually put this little box down on the bottom here that you can click on, and it asks you, like, hey, do you have a question or something like that? And you ask them a question, and then when it sends it, it asks them, like, hey, just let you know, we're not available currently. Put in your information, we'll contact you later. Or this will tie into Slack, and so in a Slack channel, it'll pop up and say, this person from this location that's on this particular page on your website wants to ask you a question. Can you answer them? And then you answer them in Slack. So because of the fact that we launched Slack, that allowed me to kind of use this tool to make it work. So it's really nice. I like it. I like the fact that, you can import and export contact lists from it. You can use it as a instant messaging type client. It's super easy to use. You just install one little line of code on your website and you're good to go. We get conversation analytics out of it. You can do auto messages if you do the paid version of it. We're just using the free version of it. But it's I don't know. I really like it. I think it's made it a lot easier for the people that either come to our church or that want to interact with our church to be able to kind of get the information that they need. So really, I mean, for $19 a month, if you wanted to pay for the growth plan, it's totally worth doing. If you run a full business and you want to do all the full businessy type things of doing file uploads and all that sort of thing, you can also do that as well. What's nice about the business plan on this is that it will let you do multiple Slack channels. So if you have a page that's for, say, like, if you're working for, we'll use a church example. So any page on the site would hit up the main operator type person. And then each of the different ministries or departments, say like children's or, adults or teenagers or whatever, if they're on that page and they ask the question, instead of it going to the main hotline type person, it's now going to go to the people that actually run that department and be able to answer those questions. So you can kind of chop this up a whole bunch of different ways, but for $40 a month, you'd be able to do something like that. Which, I don't know, to me, it sounds like a no-brainer if you're trying to launch this thing. Right now, we're using the $0 a month plan, which works just fine for what we're trying to accomplish. But if you wanted to chop it up and make it so that there's multiple Slack channels per each one, it'd be really nice to be able to just be like, hey, you work in this department, you're going to watch this and make sure everything's working correctly over there and answer all the questions and stuff. And we've been getting I'd say maybe about 15 a day or so. And it's just people asking like, hey, are you guys open? Hey, my kids want to have access to this. Hey, how do I do that? Like, it's just asking these questions and people can hop in and quickly kind of answer those things.
That'd be great for plugin companies because there's pre-sales questions and there's support questions, and they're totally different.
Yeah, and if somebody is on the support side of the site and they were to click on the thing, the support folks could be the ones that do it. And if you're on the page that is for sales, the sales folks could be the ones that are replying to it. And the person has no idea one way or the other. But for $40, you're able to kind of, manage that whole thing. So yeah, go take a look at it. I think it'd be a very good addition to what you're doing.
Is there a way to transfer the chat?
Yeah, so what's neat about it is in Slack you have the main channel that you're in.
It goes
And
back
what
to
happens
Slack.
is
Okay.
Yeah, so what happens is somebody replies, somebody initiates a conversation in there that becomes a Slack thread in that chat.
And then
so
anyone with access can do that. Yeah.
Yeah, so you go and reply to that thread and you're talking directly to that person. And so I've seen it where like somebody was like, hey, I need prayer, I need this and that, whatever. And this person's like, I literally just like input information into an Excel file all day long. Let me grab the right person. And they brought them in, replied them, threw them into the conversation, and now they're talking together. And it was almost like a group chat that was happening. Super cool. Yeah, so go take a look at it. It's neat. It's totally free. You can go find them over at small.chat, and that's where you can do that. All right, I want to say thank you very much, Russ, for hanging out with us. Really appreciate it. I want to let you know that you can go over to our website over at WPwatercooler.com to learn how to access this stuff and be able to subscribe to all of our content. WPwatercooler.com/subscribe, as well as WPwatercooler.com/join us.
Great.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Talk to y'all later.
Later, y'all.